So once again, we're talking about a potential TikTok ban. The House passed a bill, the most least productive House that we've had since the Great Depression, that can't come together for anything, rushed together really quickly to pass a bill that would likely ban TikTok if TikTok does not sell and cut ties with ByteDance. We have watched conservatives go back and forth on this issue so much. So that's where we're going to start here as we talk about it. Let's take a look here at Nancy Mace, who said that no, we should never ban TikTok because it's part of free speech, and now she's for banning it. Take a look.
Trump's opposition, is that why you opposed it?
No, I've been against this from the very beginning. Before anyone else weighed in, I was against it. It's libertarian in me. It is not the role of government to ban apps from the App Store. Nowhere in our Constitution does it say that.
But the Chinese are using it to spy on Americans, and the algorithm, what they're doing to our culture and society, and spying on our data is wrong, and we need to get to the bottom of it. We should ban it from all government devices. That should be step one.
Now, the one to really watch flip-flop on this issue, and then to start to ask yourself, why would he suddenly have such a change of heart, is Donald Trump. Check out what he once said about TikTok, and then take a look at what he's saying now.
We're looking at TikTok. We may be banning TikTok. We may be doing some other things. There are a couple of options, but a lot of things are happening, so we'll see what happens. But we are looking at a lot of alternatives with respect to TikTok.
Back in 2020, then President Donald Trump tried to ban TikTok via executive order, which the courts quickly told him he could not do.
But here he is 2 days ago, in the run-up to this vote, 2 days ago, on CNBC announcing opposing a ban.
A lot of people on TikTok that love it. There are a lot of young kids on TikTok who will go crazy without it. There are a lot of users. There's, a lot of good.
A lot of good. Why the change of heart, Donald Trump?
But the thing I don't like is that without TikTok, you can make Facebook bigger. And I consider Facebook to be an enemy of the people.
So he was all for banning TikTok, but now suddenly he says the kids will go crazy without it. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I see Donald Trump flip-flop and change his stance on something, I have to question his motives. Now, I understand that this is still a developing story. It's not reached the Senate yet. We don't know what's going to happen when it gets there. But President Biden has said that he will sign the bill if it hits his desk. And I think the most disheartening thing about all of this to people like us is we sit back and we say to ourselves, this is the most least productive Congress since the Great Depression. They've done nothing, okay? And we have sat back and asked for them and begged them and pleaded and took to the streets of March to please do something about gun violence. And they can't set aside their differences on that. They can't set aside their differences to protect our children in the classroom. But suddenly they all come together for this. We have sat back and watched them talk about the crisis at the border, and they can't come together on that one because you have MAGA Republicans standing up and saying, oh, we can't do that because Trump wants to run on this issue, and we have to wait till he's in office before we fix it. So we've sat back and watched them do nothing and watched them stall when we needed them to act, and then suddenly they're all about acting quickly when it comes to a TikTok ban. Now, I stumbled across this clip of a representative from Wisconsin, Mike Gallagher. Take a look at what he has to say, and let's come back and talk more about it.
The only impacted sites are those associated with foreign adversary apps, such as TikTok.com. It can never be used to penalize individuals. The text explicitly prohibits that, and it cannot be used to censor speech. It takes no position at all on the content of speech, only foreign adversary control. Foreign adversary control of what is becoming the dominant news platform for Americans under 30. This is a common sense measure to protect our national security. I urge my colleagues to support this critical bipartisan legislation.
So could it be that they are worried about TikTok potentially becoming a platform for young people? Is that their fear? And what are we going to see if TikTok is forced to sell? That's a big question I've been asking myself. Okay, if TikTok does this and they sell and they cut ties with ByteDance, who's going to buy it? Are we going to see another Elon Musk step up? Are we going to see another Twitter dumpster fire? Is that what it's going to be? Is it just going to be that every time they disagree with a platform, the right wing buys it and turns it to their favor, turns it into what they want to see? Because that's not democracy at all. And that's not free speech at all. They've been going this entire time talking about how it's them that's being persecuted, how it's them that everyone's coming after. When in reality, it seems to be them that's always trying to stack the deck against everyone else and silence any voice that they don't agree with. Now, I started off doing what I do on the TikTok app. That's where I really started gaining traction, doing what it is that I do. The reason that I don't make as much content over there these days, if I'm being brutally honest with you, is because of the community guidelines violations and how screwed up they all are. It seems like every time I take 1 or 2 steps forward, I get knocked back 4 or 5 steps. That's one of the reasons why you don't see me posting as much over there. I'm not saying the app is perfect. I think there's a lot of flaws with it. I think there's a whole lot of things that needs to be fixed. But if we see them sell out and we see it fall into the hands of right-wing media, it's just going to become another dumpster fire. And for all the problems and all the things that I think needs to be fixed about the app, it is a voice for people. It is something that people can use as a voice. And it's just something that people enjoy to get through their day. And right now, with everything we got going on in this country, every serious issue that we're facing, I completely understand that we have to be careful and we have to protect our data. I completely understand all the arguments they're trying to make. But to pick that fight right now, with everything we got going on, it's just something that's not going to sit well with people. I can't see it being something that ends well with the American people.